Hi everybody, my name is Lindsay Ozier. I am coming to you from Soulights. We are doing a Soulights in Action interview today with my niece, Zhanyia Garner. She has written a book called I Choose Me, and today we're going to be talking about it. So let's get into it.
Okay.
All right, Naya, so where do you live?
So I am from Washington, but I currently live in Arizona right now.
And what is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote's actually in the book, and it's not about the cards you're dealt, but how you play the hand. So basically that's my favorite quote because I feel like everybody encounters different things in their life. We are sometimes brought into certain situations out of our control. So it's not about what is presented to us. I think it's more about what we do as the outcome. And that's kind of like how I see things, is I don't let my environment determine who I am. And I try to move past everything that I've encountered in life that wasn't the greatest. So yeah.
What brings you inspiration?
I feel like everybody that I've encountered in my life has brought me inspiration, just due to the fact that like how I just see things is just like it's life. It's just like everybody goes through things, and just to see even people walk on the street or even drive past me in a car and to look at them and like they are going through something too, and I'm not alone. So I just feel like my inspiration is life in general, and knowing that like everybody has their own story. And so it's kind of like, that's what brings me to write about mine, is that everybody goes through something and someone could possibly go through the same thing as me.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into it. So tell us about your book.
So actually I have a poem that kind of like tells you a little bit about my book. And I actually wrote this to kind of like tell people about my book. And it's the last poem in my book. So it says, I choose me explains itself. You can say it's selfish, you can say it's selfless. It's what you choose that's best for you. We tend to make decisions based on others' emotions and experiences. We forget about us, what we want, what we deserve. Choose you, why not? Who told you you couldn't? Yourself. That's why you choose yourself. Put yourself first with grace. Be your own hero, save yourself. We walk in these shoes. We wake up every morning to make the best of what we have. We do what makes us happy. So when the time comes to make a decision, say to yourself, I choose me.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Oh, it's so deep too. Like everybody, I think, goes through a situation where they put others before them and maybe think about the opinions of others and what people are going to think of them. And this is so valid because people can get lost in that, and when you choose yourself, you're actually choosing what's best for you. And usually what's best for you is best for everyone else too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, so tell us a little bit about why you wrote this book.
I wrote this book because let's backtrack. I actually, when writing this book, in the poems in this book, I was writing these poems before I even knew it was going to be a book. When I was going through a transition in life of being independent, I was out in college and I was in a relationship that was pretty toxic. And the way I was being able to handle those emotions, because I didn't know how to express them to other people, and sometimes I didn't want people to know like what I was feeling, I was writing down my emotions. And I just was laying them down. And then one day, I felt the urge to tell a friend, like, hey, like I write, do you want to hear some stuff? And they were like, yeah. And there was two of them at the time there. And I read some of my poems to them, and one of my best friends, she started crying. And I was like, whoa, like what's going on? And she was like, nah, you know that's poetry, right? And I was like, yeah, I kind of thought that, but I don't know. And she was like you're really good. Because when I was expressing myself, it wasn't through, like my actual it was like through words of like the choices. It's like I got in the zone, and I just felt, it's like my hand was writing without me even like having to write. Like it was just like there. It was just always like, it's like, I don't know, it was like just flowing. And then one day, I was like telling myself like, hey, like, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, what am I even doing with these poems? Like, am I gonna share them one day? And then it was like an epiphany, like a click, and I was just like, you need to turn your poems into a book. And like, you know, and I did that, and I basically did that for me, but also I wrote the book because I just know that like I'm not the only one that feels these emotions, and I wanted someone else to understand them and feel them if they can. But it was most importantly also for me, knowing that like I accomplished something, and I was able to put my words into a format and kind of like gifted myself basically. I gifted myself with my gift.
So you've told me a little bit about the process of writing this book. Can you go into what did you do? Because you did it all on your own.
Yeah.
So can you tell me how did you find out about all the resources out there to be able to do this?
So I move really fast with certain things. I feel like not like really okay. When I say this book was actually a process, I actually started writing these poems before I knew it was a book in 2018. Was my like first poem that I have in my notes in my phone was from 2018. I actually did publish the book until 2023. So it was kind of like a 5-year process. So basically, I decided to make this a book November 14th of 2020. So it was actually during COVID, and I think that's why I was able to kind of like format, because life slowed down, and it was like, what am I gonna do next? Like, what is even coming next? And so then during that, I started writing more. So I didn't have all my poems set yet during that time. So I was still writing more. I was just like putting in my head like, okay, I know the name, and it's called I Choose Me. And then I had like a quote that's in the book that I wanted to be in the front, but then I took it out and just made it in the book, and it was, progress is the best form of improvement causing growth. And so basically for me was like that. I always said that to myself during the of me writing this, because if I'm making at least 1% of progress a day, I'm still improving, and that's going to cause me to still grow. So that's kind of like what I always like wanted to tell myself. So I finished the poems in 2021, and I wanted to publish my book in 2022, but actually I didn't do that because I was like, I need my book to be perfect. So I actually was in cosmetology school, and I was telling one of my teachers like just about it, you know, not thinking anything of it, and she was like, my cousin actually is a publisher in New York, and she was like, I can ask her like what kind of things the self-publishers wanted to do. So then she messaged her, and then she messaged her back, and she sent her this link, and it was Jane Friedman, I think, and it was like how to self-publish. And so I went to the website, and basically all the steps on that website I pretty much followed, and that kind of like got me into the process of how to like do it. And so then I had a friend that published a book, and I reached out and I was like, hey, like, how is the editing process? So I kind of like was just navigating, watching YouTube videos, and just by even also speaking to people, and kind of like when I felt like the urge to, intuition wise, like, hey, you should tell them. And when I was doing that, I was also getting back information that helped me along my journey. So it was just kind of like me, like sometimes putting myself out there, and also just like YouTubing and researching everything. So the process of that was kind of like, okay, how to self-publish, did the steps, finished writing my book. Then I actually, the people that did the art in my book was a student that I was working with at elementary. Her mom was an art teacher, and she was the one that did the art in my book. So it's like kind of like I met people through talking, through work, and researching.
It sounds like you're really divinely inspired and guided.
Yeah.
It sounds like when you listen to your intuition and you set out that intention that this is what you wanted, and you made that decision, I'm gonna write this book.
Yeah.
It was like God just like lined up things for you, and you started to notice that like, oh, I need to talk to this person, oh, I need to talk to that person, and you listened. And I think that's really that's really powerful for somebody to write a book that has no skill set on writing a book. I think that this really speaks volumes for those who do want to do something like this and they don't know where to start and they don't have the confidence to do it and they don't know anybody. They don't think that they could do it, you know. So this is, I mean, you didn't have anybody that that you necessarily like, oh, I'm going to go, and somebody just guides you through the whole process. You had to find this person, do this, that, and I mean, that's just so impressive to me that you were able to do that, and that now we have I Choose Me. So people reading this book, what do you want them to get from it?
I want them to really kind of like understand that it is okay to go through things, because I feel like we have to in order to really understand basically understand us. If I didn't go through that toxic relationship, I Choose Me wouldn't be here. And I feel like that's the beauty in actually going through things, is getting to that other side. And I feel like my book was my other side. And so the message I want them to bring is that when you are going through these things and you don't let it define you, and you just, you know, because sometimes we have to go through things, and it's not like, I think that's what brings life into this world, is just like is the going through things, but getting to the other side and actually working through those. And I feel like my book is basically saying, like, I went through something, but instead of letting it define me, I chose myself in the end, because I know what I don't like, I know what I like, I know what I'm worth, I find out all these things about myself. And so I just like kind of like, that's what my book is. I want you to understand that, like, we're going to go through things in life, but when you don't let it define you and you choose yourself in the end, there's a beauty out of it. And I think that's kind of what my book is, because I didn't know I was writing this book, and I didn't know that I was going through was going to make me write this book. And the fact that I have this, and it's like a vulnerable piece of me, and it's like I share this with the world, it's like I'm not mad about what I went through anymore, because I did this.
It's something positive came out of it. Yeah.
I want people to understand that, like, choose yourself through a situation and it will be better. It's better for you when you choose yourself, and then you can be able to choose other people and help other people. Yeah.
And if you're not able to have that self-love and choose yourself, then it's really difficult to also share that with others, to give love and be that source of love for others, because you're when you are not whole, you're looking for love outside of you.
Yes.
But this is I Choose Me. Really, it sounds like there's you're really wanting to promote self-love and like choosing yourself above all the outside opinions and things that are out there.
Yes.
So, this is beautiful. Okay, well, thank you for that. What's next for you?
What's next is definitely still writing. I'm gonna always still write. Next book is gonna be a little bit about me having actually these thoughts of anything I'm going through in life, or it's basically having conversations with myself and putting that down on paper, because I feel like sometimes we sit here and we have conversations with ourselves and we're trying to figure something out, but not realizing that conversation with ourselves is the conversation that matters, and kind of like just putting that down on paper. So that's what I'm going to do next, and just building a community about healing and self-love, and just like, you know, I don't know, like, I want something to come out of this, but I know what's ever going to be meant for me is going to come. So but I know what I want, and I know what I'm heading towards, and if I just keep that energy around me, then it will all flow.
Yep.
So.
And then when you said 1% of progress each day will get you to reach your dream. Right? And that's not, we think about it, like we have this huge plan, and then it looks really big and very not achievable. And then when we break it down, though, like you did with your 1%, it's like you like have it's like breaking it down in bite sizes and chewable portions, so you can actually start, like, if you accomplish one thing, then you can accomplish this, and then you get that feeling of accomplishment. Each little 1% that you put in, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you're like, oh my god, it's done.
Exactly. I have this like big it. Like I did. I did it. So that is the goal.
Well, this has been a great interview, and I'm really proud of you, and I cannot wait for other people to read your book and for us to hear what they have to say about it and how it's helped, because I know it's going to make such a huge impact on other people's lives. It's already affected mine, and you are my niece and I'm your aunt, so it's like, it really, there is people out there that need to hear what you have to say, and so I really encourage you to continue sharing.
Thank you.
Well, that is our interview today. Thank you for tuning in to Soulights in Action. We are here to interview you if you would like to have an interview for something that you're doing or something you're working on, something in the community. If you need support in any way in getting your message out there, reach out and we'll get you set up with an interview. That's it for now. Peace, love, and happiness.